for us, the best thing about Rainbows was that they introduced us to different families that were going through similar things to us.
Never felt like love like it from people who don't even know. These strangers came on, took our child under their wing and tried to help as much as possible, and it was the biggest relief for support I've ever had.
Okay, we first found out there were problems with Rory during the pregnancy, so we knew we were going to be expecting some issues, and that was really hard to take. And actually, the issue started there for us in terms of the stress levels and the mental health, if you like. There wasn't an awful lot out there to support us. And then when Rory was born, he was a few weeks old, and we were told not to expect him to live for very long at all. In fact, not to make it past his second birthday, and we were told that on Father's Day, which was not great. And I have to say, at the time, I was thinking, well, where's the support system? So family and friends, obviously, are really important. For us, the best thing about Rainbows was that they introduced us to different families that were going through similar things to us. So we met you. We've made friends here now. And through you as well, your wife Megan, her sister Georgia is now Rory's carer. So if it wasn't for Rainbows offering these opportunities for families to meet and to provide these support systems, we'd have struggled a lot more. And I know that there's a counsellor through Rainbows which provides an awful lot of support as well.
When did you find out there was support for you? At what point did you find out there was support for you?
I think it was about when Rory was first born. Rainbows
did you come to Rainbows straight away, or
we had conversations after he was born about the kind of support that Rainbows would provide, which was helpful. And I think it was hard at first because we live in Loughborough, so we know that Rainbows is a hospice, and there were some negative connotations with how Rainbows was, and that it was for end-of-life care. It wasn't until we visited that we realised what a wonderful place it is, and how supportive it can be, and it's a lovely place that we live to
likewise
visit.
For me. So with I didn't really know what. Obviously, I knew about hospices, but I didn't know what Rainbows was. So for me, when we were told that we were getting sent to a hospice, I was a bit like, "What's going on here? We don't know what's going on." Then we come to Rainbows, and man was blown about all the support that we got given. I would never expected to be in that position ever in my life. And then when we came here, and the support that we were given was just unreal. Never felt like love like it from people who don't even know. These strangers came on, took our child under their wing and tried to help as much as possible. And it was the biggest relief for support that I've ever had from anybody. Obviously, we had our family and friends as well, but it's a bit different, because your family, you expect them to support you anyway. So, and they did really well. But just having that different body to kind of come to and speak to someone that you don't know and have that support was really good.
Yeah,
really good for us.
Totally agree. And families and friends can be supportive, but they can also find it very difficult to know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rory presents very differently to other children, as you know, and we still wait for a diagnosis for him now. We don't know the underlying issues, the reason for the issues that he has. So to meet families through Rainbows, and for the staff to be treating everybody as they would treat everybody and want to be treated, and then to meet families that are going through similar situations was a real relief for us, because we were quite uptight about our situation and how things were and the future and how unsure it was going to be.
That was the most comforting thing for me as well, was that when we came here, we found families like you, a couple of other families that we met. We built great friendships from it as well. They were like a big support network. We all met up. We were all the same family in the same situation. We all got the same problem going on, and just to even have a bit of time out with them friends and forget about them little moments with the kids and stuff. We could just be adults at that time as well, rather than just adults with children with limited problems. I think that was really nice as well, and the support was great.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had Christmas get-togethers and drinks out, meals really out, good. Bowling.
Yeah.
So it's great to have people to share things with that know exactly what you're going through even close friends and family don't quite understand because they don't live with it.
Do you think for men, why do you think men don't talk about it?
I don't think there's as much support out there for men. I think I'm very lucky in that my boss at work has a child with severe special needs, so he's very sympathetic, very understanding. So not just in terms of what it's like living with a child with lots of needs, but also he knows that our sleep is affected, so he's been supportive in terms of he knows whether I've had a bad night or whether I need a bit of a chat. So in a way, he's...
No, it's so good that you've got that support.
Yeah,
as well,
absolutely. And people don't
understand.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that access to that at all, and I think there's a lack of support for men generally. I do think the counselling service that Rainbows provides is really good, and I know people who've taken the opportunity to access that as well.
For me, I don't know why we don't talk about it as much, because I mean I'm slightly different. I do kind of talk about it. I think that when we were first in that scenario and we was put in that position of you've got a child with a life limited like injury, etc. For me, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. But coming to Rainbows, obviously I meet likewise families, and I've been able to share my journey with those people, people I've never met across in my life before, or would never come across a meeting, and I got to share that it's okay to kind of talk to them about it and find more about them as well. And like I say, we built great relationships from it as well. So,
and I think the groups, particularly in the early stages, I didn't manage to come to a lot because I was working. I think that's maybe where some of the opportunities for talking is less. But Mel brought Rory to the baby group, which was great for her.
Yeah.
They had days out and events here and coffee mornings, and that was really supportive. The staff were great, and seeing other families as well and building relationships that way, making Mel feel like she wasn't completely by herself and she was able to talk to people as well. And I know there's a dad's group, but I don't think we could all really access it much because we can never agree to times.
Literally.
We're
always
all
busy men,
working, or then the weekends we'd have to be with the family. So I think perhaps there is that external pressure of working that makes it difficult.
Well, we're the men of the arse, We've got to do support. We've got to make sure we're strong for the ladies, So that's why we feel like that we've got to keep all the plates spinning for everyone. So it's harder for us as well, because not only that, we've got to be the support for all our family and make sure that we're thinking, but we don't get the opportunity to talk about it ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think when we did come in, we got the opportunity to talk about it. You get the one-to-one with the support workers, and you get to talk about it. And for me, that was good. I learned how to speak about my feelings and what was bothering me at the time, and that was a massive, massive help for me.
I still think there's definitely more to be done, not from Rainbows, but generally from the medical side of things as well. We still have, you see probably 7 or 8 different, or even more medical professionals to help with Rory, and there's a lack of kind of tying all of those situations together, and we have an awful lot of appointments that we have to go to, and there isn't anybody kind of in charge of that oversees it or doesn't realise the pressures we're under to have time off to go to medical appointments, and
everything is also medical as well. There is nothing there to kind of okay, well, let's put the medical to one side. Well, how are you actually feeling? How are you dealing with it? Is there anything we can do to support that, etc.? So it's kind of managing that yourself, isn't it? As well?
Particularly with hospitals, I know they're very stretched and work very, very hard, but there's a real lack of support for me and Mel when Rory was first born, and we were so confused, and we were given confusing messages, and then we were hit with the fact that they didn't think he'd live very long at all, and there was nothing really from that side of things that said, and if you need to talk to somebody, here you go. It was so confusing at the time, and I think Rainbows did definitely help there for us.
Well, you got to meet me.
Of course. Professor Green.